Okay, we are live. So great. Welcome to Tamarah's Closet today. I'm very excited to have such a multi-talented man today on my show. I actually discovered him watching the thriller movie Blind Malice. And he not only was a great actor in it, he also, I found out he did the soundtrack for the movie. But while I was watching the movie, I was really curious to know more about the actor because I could tell he was Swedish, and in my research I found that he was also an incredibly gifted singer and songwriter, and he's had a wonderful modeling career, and I like that. I used to model, and that career traveled him all around the world. He's from Stockholm, Sweden, but he was raised on the tiny islands of Lofoten, Norway. I hope I pronounced that right. But he spent much of his time growing up in the caves, and he was surrounded at home by some of the greatest folk singers. And so he's always been surrounded by music and art. He actually currently resides in Los Angeles, California, and he's modeled for some of the great designers. And he also has an incredibly beautiful eye for photography. So I really love some of his photos that he's done. I want to go ahead and bring him out because I got lots of questions. So I want to welcome to Tamarah's Closet today, Grim Hans Christian Bernhoft. Say hello, Grim, so I know you're still with me.
Good morning.
Yeah, I really am glad to have you. And I usually like to start with your background, but since I discovered you watching the thriller movie, I want to kind of start with that a little bit, Grim. And I wanted just to talk to you a little bit about that because I know it won the best thriller. I think it was in the Hollywood Real Independent Film Festival, I believe. And I wanted to know, kind of, you share how you landed that role as also doing the soundtrack.
Well, interesting story. Actually, not a good friend of mine, Graham Streeter, is the director and the writer of the movie. I worked with him before, and he's a good friend of mine, and we were talking about doing the soundtrack. But then I guess they figured I could play that horrible role of a crazy lead character, which I don't know if it's a compliment or not, but they asked if I wanted to do it, and of course. I mean, such a great creative process of being in a film, so yeah, I said of course. But it was fun. But as you know, it's a pretty intense movie, so
yeah, it was intense. And and then after I met you, you were complete opposite of the role you play. So I was wondering, you're such a kind soul, and I wanted to know how did you handle those violent scenes and separate yourself from that? Was that a big challenge for you, or?
Comes easier than you'd think. I think everyone has a dark side of them. I think you just have to tap into it. Yeah, actually, it was a horrible character to play. I won't give anything away about the movie, but I guess it's that's the thing with acting. I mean, you kind of have to zoom in on the character that you have to play. But I mean, at the end of the, we had like really short time to get into everything before we started shooting. So at the end of the movie, I think we actually should have started filming it because everyone was so into the story, but it turned out all right.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you really did. So I wondered though, when you created the soundtrack, did you do that like along the filming process, or was it all done after the movie was made?
Well, now I've done 3 feature films with some music-wise and sound-wise with Graham, and we do have a good process of working on the music because it's amazing how much power you have when it comes to music and film. Because even if you don't think about it, the sounds and the music to a film is crucial. So I mean, you pretty much decide what the person is supposed to feel and think, and so I mean, it's a all the way through process. Graham trusts me a lot with the sound, and we pretty much start from the script, like even before they start filming or shooting or thinking about the movie per se. So we
Yeah.
start just doing the script. That's why we have like doing the table read. I tried to make like an hour and a half long piece of music just to test out the feeling to the script, and while we're doing the read, we'll keep the music in the background and see how it feels like, and so it's all the way through process. I mean, and at the end of it, it's basically up to the editor or Graham where he places the music, and pretty much just hand him lots and lots of material that he can feel it out, and it's a very cool process, and it's amazing how much it changes depending on what sound you put behind the scene. So
Yeah, I mean, I went back and I mean, I remember the soundtrack, but when you told me that you had done it later, I was like, well, I got to watch that again. But then when I was watching it again, I was like, oh yeah. I said I didn't realize he was talking about. I was thinking you were just talking about music, but you're actually talking about all the sound, and it really was good, and I just think that's fascinating. I was wondering what helped you with the inspiration behind it? Do you have to kind of get in a meditative state, or just
I think you just get into the script. I mean, you read the movie, and it's also a nice thing when you read a script that you make your own movie. I mean, it's kind of happening in your head. So when you do read it, it's like reading a book. I mean, there's, at least when I read a book, I got a soundtrack going as well. So I don't know, it's a common thing. I do. I mean, I usually hear music, so yeah, you just get into it.
That's interesting. Now, when I read a book, I'm very visual. I very much imagine what's going on, but I hadn't really paid attention to if I hear sound, So that's really.
You need a soundtrack.
Yeah, I need a soundtrack too, for sure. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Did you ever think that you wanted to be an actor before the opportunity came up, or?
It's nothing I've pursued. But it is obviously, if you live in Hollywood or LA. Actually, I'm in San Diego at the moment, so.
Oh, that's right.
But I did used to live in LA and Hollywood, and obviously you're surrounded by the film industry, and everyone's pretty much an actor. But to me, it's always been music, and I think the music aspect of film would probably be. I don't see myself as a very good actor, so. But I think the sound part of it. But yeah, absolutely, I would definitely do more acting if I was given the opportunity.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of fun. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
the process. There's so many creative people getting together. I mean, that's the secret about film. I mean, the more amazing talents you have. I mean, from writers to directors to everyone. I mean, everyone contributed to the table. So.
Well, the behind the scenes videos look like you were working with a really nice group of people.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're all good friends.
Oh, that's good. That's
so good. Yeah, I mean, you should see some of the other films. There's a few. This one was one of the first, Blind Malice, that came out, and you have Imperfect Sky that I did the film, did all the music, and then now it's there's another one called I May Regret that just won prizes here in San Diego at the film festival and did really great all over the world, actually. So.
Well, did you send me those links? I don't think.
I might have.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look if I missed them because I'd like to see those.
And they're all pretty intense films as well.
Are they? They've already. Well, I need. I don't know if you sent me those links, but you need
I'll
to.
definitely, I'll send you the links.
Yeah, I'd like to see them. I didn't know that. That's good. Well, it sounds like you enjoy doing the sound. You know, and
I
I think
do.
that. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, as long as you work with people that allow you to some artistic freedom and allow you to, you know, sway out a little bit and do it your way. I guess
Yeah.
you allow people to be as much themselves as possible, like when it comes to creative wise.
Well, I think any artist, no matter what kind of artist you are, I think when someone gives you the freedom to really be creative and give you a chance to do it the way you see it, they actually will get better work out of you than when they kind of
Oh,
start.
definitely.
Yeah, but I know as a photographer, I know sometimes if someone, even as a hairstylist, if someone puts too many stipulations and restrictions, I find it harder to be creative, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I want to get back to, because you grew up in a family surrounded by music and art, and your bio says you were just surrounded by laughter and fun. It sounds like such a great home to grow up in and a beautiful place to grow up in. So I know we talked about this, but I wanted you to share with the viewers like about your parents, their love for music, whether they were musicians or artists of pain, and a little bit about that background.
I think basically everyone's an artist. So I mean, but
Oh,
yeah, I was definitely surrounded by. I mean, my mom taught me how to play the guitar, like do my first chords, and my dad's a great musician, and my sister's great artist. I'm very talented, and even though I wouldn't say anyone really pursued the lifestyle of an artist, but I mean to create, I mean definitely important. And yeah, we definitely had a lot of music growing up, and it is one of the most beautiful places in the world, I think, and I've seen quite a bit of it. So it's definitely a pretty place, Lofoten Islands and northern Norway.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
I,
it's pretty.
yeah,
It's cold but pretty.
I
Which is
can't.
why I'm here in California. So
Yeah, I mean, I would think that's a big culture shock. That's such a different place, but
yeah, it sure is.
I don't know. I think so. But who were your bio says some of the greatest folk singers visit your home? Can you share any of them?
Well, I mean, just by that I mean great musicians.
Really? Yeah.
Since my father played a lot, and since it's folk music, I mean, obviously people get together and play music, and they would definitely come and play at our place, and definitely went to a lot of places where there was live music, and we're always part of it. We're never told to, like, there's no separation between being a kid and not being part of like the festivities of music. And so I think that definitely inspired a lot to music. And also I think that environment is so part of it is lots of storytelling and which is part of folk music, and having all that is definitely also part of my music. So
Was that time period a pivotal moment in your life that made you want to become a singer and songwriter, or was it later?
I never wanted to be a singer-songwriter.
You never wanted to?
I never thought about it like that. I mean, honestly, it's never been like a thing. You know, it's just something I do because you eat in the morning and you do the stuff that you need to do to live and survive. So part of that is music. So I'm just using the tools I can.
So, but you're so talented. I mean, you
Well,
obviously
thank you.
you obviously enjoy it. So
Yeah, I do. I love it a lot. I mean, I couldn't be without it.
yeah, I can't imagine because your lyrics are really powerful. They really, really are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've really, really enjoyed, and I've had a lot of people tell me that listen to your music that they enjoy it too. So I think that's really
That's a,
great.
that's a good thing. I do definitely believe in quality over quantity, and like a lot of times people tell me, there's certain recipes if you want to write certain songs, and if you want people to hear it, and if you want to sell your music, and I guess those boundaries are, I guess, personality wise, I don't like to be told what to do. And uh,
That makes you an artist.
well, I'm very often, like, especially when it comes to music, I'd rather write something that touches someone,
Uh-huh.
and instead of getting 1,000 people that listen to the song for 5 minutes and then goes on to the next. I'd rather have someone, and I do like the same way you talk about it. I mean, certain people contact me or tell me what impact the song or like a song have had on them and their music, and that's the purpose of. That's why I write. I mean, it's all obviously very personal, and I made a decision long time ago that if I'm going to write my story and my music, it has to be honest, and to tell it in a way that can also affect or help other people. So
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think it seems to me that all your traveling has attributed to a lot of your, I don't know, your lyrics. Just, I mean, because you're very well traveled from the modeling. So it just,
yeah, well, I mean, traveling has always been part of me. I mean, even before I started modeling,
yeah.
obviously. I mean, it took me here and other places. Um, but absolutely, I mean, it's part of your story, right? So,
Yeah.
and the more you see, and the more you travel, the more people. I think traveling is the best school on the planet. I mean, I definitely think everyone should be trying at least to see other places and meet other people and other cultures and music from other places. I was very fascinated by South African music when I was a kid. Part of being in part of a choir when I was a kid, and when I came to South Africa, it's one of the main reasons I wanted to go there. And it's beautiful. I mean, so yeah, of course, it influences you and it makes you grow and makes you bigger. Absolutely, in every aspect.
Yeah. You lived in Cape Town, right, for a
Yeah,
while?
yeah, Cape Town,
Yes. Yeah.
beautiful place.
Yeah, I've heard it was beautiful, and I've interviewed a lot of artists in South Africa, so quite a
Yeah,
few. So yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, it's a beautiful place.
yeah. It sounds like it. I mean, I just, and I've kind of Googled it, but I've never
Yeah,
been there. Yeah, so
yeah. Everyone's gathering on the beaches at night for sundowners and to celebrate the sunsets, and that's definitely a beautiful place. Very
uh,
turbulent though, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But it sounds like you grew up though in a magical place, and I like the part where you were in the caves and the metaphorical blanket that I thought was real.
I should have brought a blanket just to mess with you. You know what? That's actually there's one cave that I'm talking about, and I mean obviously there's a lot of mountains and all that, but there's a pivotal moment when I don't know what I've seen this place later on, I don't think I would go there. Like as a kid, I mean, I must have been stupid or brave, or I don't know what to call it, but I used to swing into this little place on this drop off, and kind of roll into this little cave, and I was surrounded by rocks, and I remember it very clearly, and it's a beautiful place. But so yeah, the whole weaving blankets stuff, I mean, metaphorical.
Yeah, but that was a great metaphor. You just didn't know a silly blonde was going to think it was a real blanket.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you need to surround yourself with silence to be able to hear your, to stretch your mind and discover, like the vastness of your own space,
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely did that as a kid, I think. And I do think growing up in a place like that definitely helped. So.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I think I would have loved something like that because growing up, I liked to be around horses and I would play in the woods a lot. I've never been really fit into a really city life. It wasn't my thing. So
Yes, as far as I've seen, I mean, looks like you live in the country with
yeah, I don't.
countryside with the horses, and it looks all
Yeah,
very picturesque and beautiful.
yeah. I don't live in the out there at the farm, but that's one of my goals is to get a farm again because I do feel out of kilter when I'm in the city. It's just not.
Yeah,
I like the
I know that feeling.
yeah, I like the quiet. So,
Yeah.
but my question was going to be how old were you when you wanted to become a singer? But it sounds like you never really did. But what?
Well, I guess yes and no. I mean, I guess I always pursued music. I mean, it was a dream, I guess, growing up with music, and I definitely decided at some point that I want to play guitar and do music, which is why I applied. I mean, which is why I came to LA to do MI and music school and all that. So I definitely pursued it. I just didn't think I thought it would be rock and roll and stages, but you
Yeah,
grow older and music changes and it's not the same environment anymore. And uh, so at some point, I guess my whole life, I mean, I've always been thinking music as long as I can remember.
right.
So I guess until when I discovered the guitar, uh, and I could start writing my own music and write my own songs and play music for others. I mean, so there's definitely a moment, I think, but I was very young.
Yeah. Well, do you remember like the first time was there a moment in your life where when you started singing that people said, "Oh wow, Graham, you have a great voice," or "You should do more of this," or
Not just kidding. Well, yeah, I don't know. I've never been much for, uh, you know, I guess, when you do play music, even if you don't sound great, you're still surrounded by people that tells you, oh my God, you sound so great. So I mean,
yeah,
you got your parents, your friends, and like so. But yeah, I think I've always been encouraged to play. I mean, but I mean, I never did play music to get some kind of confirmation from others. It's always been like an inside uh, wanting to come out. Like it's always been like a drive. I'm sorry. Now they're cutting the grass outside here, so.
Oh, that's okay. I can't hear it. But you know what? Your voice, what I noticed is your voice is very unique, but it's very suited to the songs you write. It fits with that low key, that I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but your music's very relaxing and almost meditative, and your voice fits that.
No, thank you.
And I think
it's not something. I did have someone else singing my songs. She's a wonderful singer, and as we were out playing and doing shows and stuff, it felt wrong, you know, because my lyrics and stuff that I write is, like I said, very personal, and I had to make a decision. So I told myself, if I'm gonna play my own music, I have to do it myself. So the whole singing thing is been quite the journey, you know, with learning and having confidence in your voice, and I never thought of myself as a singer, more like a instrumentalist. But yeah, it's an interesting instrument, and there's so many amazing, talented people singing. So yeah, it might be tough sometimes to go up there and bust out and start singing your songs, but you know, no one can tell your story better than yourself. So I definitely think. So thank you for saying that. It means a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I can't really imagine anybody else singing your songs, and I think it's just there's so much deep meaning in there. You can tell it's very personal to you, and so I think that's what, you know, some songs that are pop songs, you can visualize other different people singing them, but I can't really imagine anybody else singing your music. You just really, you kind of gravitate to your voice, and you immediately know it's very personal to you. So I think that's what makes it kind of unique.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I do. I'm going through a healing stage, and it's been very healing for me and relaxing. And I told you I had insomnia a little bit, so it's great for that. Really,
I know all about it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got horrible insomnia.
Yeah.
Like I told you, like lots of my music I do sometimes to make myself fall asleep, and to have, I don't know, I think reflect in it in the music, to make music that can soothe and kind of, like you said, make you fall into that relaxing meditative state. So I'm really good at making other people fall asleep. I just can't really sleep myself. So.
But you know, that's good. That's good that you, because I've always been such a rock and roll girl, and then I like disco because I love to dance. But you know, when I heard your music, I was like, this is great. This music is great to listen to when you're having anxiety or want to relax or just want to hear stories. It was just very good. I like it.
Well, that's why I do like a few different genres of music, maybe under different names. I got the Sea and the Lotus, which is all instrumental music and all meditative sounds, and kind of like a journey through sounds, and with the purpose of drawing you into that state of relaxing, and I've always loved instrumental music, because I do think the instruments and the sounds in themselves tell such a story without putting words to it.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different kind of music than the songwriting.
Yeah, I like your instrumental music, because that, you know, I used to listen to the Cocapella music when I was trying to sleep. I used to have this CD, and I don't know what happened to it, and I've always missed it. But yeah, so I was listening to your, is it called Journey? Is that the name
Of the?
It's an hour.
Listen to Sea and the Lotus. Oh yeah.
I think it was. I think that's what I was.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do put out a lot of music, so sometimes to remember. Yeah,
That's okay.
it's like the long one is, I think it's called Journey. So, but
Yeah,
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 it is like an hour or something.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Which is
Yeah.
also part of the table read that I did for one of the films. So
Okay. Okay. Oh.
it was playing in the background there. So sometimes I use some of the music from the films.
Uh-huh.
I get carried away because for the films I try to make like 4-minute pieces
Uh-huh.
or shorter. But sometimes I get carried away and they just go on and on.
Yeah, but it's really good for people who are really getting into meditation and
Well, people have such short attention span, especially these days. I think everything is very like short snippets of uh, input and information that you get. So I think it's really important to settle down and regain some of that attention span, you know. And I think music can really help doing that.
yeah, I
So
agree. I agree. Well, what took you to South Asia for 15 when you were 15? Because you said that your bio says that's where you submerged yourself in Buddhism and
oh,
how
that's my first uh, meeting with Buddhism as a obviously no I went to Thailand when I was 15 and I did luckily I had the opportunity to I lived really close to a Buddhist temple, and some of those monks used to come down to my place and I used to teach them how to play Smoke and Water on the guitar, and they were all sitting around like really really great people, and they taught me some stuff in return. And I think it's a wonderful life philosophy, and like I told you before, I'm not a religious person, but when it comes to Buddhism, I think you can learn a lot quality-wise, like lifestyle-wise. I guess it's just a pursuit of betterness, you know, to become a better person and aspect and respect the life and all that.
yeah.
But yeah, Southeast Asia was talking about contrast. So
Yeah, but what took you there? What
uh,
made you, well, how did you just
well, my father's married to a Thai woman, and
okay.
so I had two Thai sisters, and us learning the language and like I said, just spending some time there. But then my modeling career took me back. Lived in Japan for a couple of years, and uh, Korea and all that different places, Hong Kong. So it is a very interesting and beautiful place, I think. But you're talking about big cities, so I'm more of a country boy. So
Yeah, yeah, I could tell. But that's amazing that you've lived. How many languages do you speak? Or,
I only speak one. It's probably music. Fluently, I would say. Yeah, I mean, languages are keys, I think. I was studying a lot of different languages. Like I said, I mean, I live in Barcelona and Italy and different places, and every place you come to, I mean, communication is crucial. But even if you don't know a language, I mean, lots of people are afraid of traveling because they don't understand the culture of the language. But you know, it's never been a problem. I've been to many places. I have no idea what they're saying, and I gotta tell you, I mean, I never had a problem communicating and getting along with people,
wow.
and actually, that even brings you closer when you have to think about what to say. You know,
Yeah,
when everything you say is, uh, you know, meaningful. I mean, when you have to make someone understand what you want to say, you know.
Yeah.
So could be a good challenge for anyone.
Yeah, I bet it would be. I mean, I think it would be maybe I could be scary at first, but once you were there, it probably would be kind of an exciting challenge for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, people been communicating for a long time, so I mean, I don't think it's a huge problem. You should definitely not deter anyone from traveling, you know.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Would you credit your spirituality, maybe in Buddhism, to your passion for the instrumental music that you've created, or?
Mm, I think I think that part of me has always been there.
Okay.
I do think uh, your spirituality or your search for your own spirituality or you know, when you try to become more aware and looking for inner peace, I guess. To quote Panda. Now, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's definitely goes hand in hand. I mean, it is when it comes to meditation and being calm. I mean, instrumental music definitely has that power to connect to that. It's like looking at the ocean, you know. There's nothing stopping your mind traveling, and I do think instrumental music has that, especially if it's meditative and ambient type of music. So
Yeah.
it definitely goes hand in hand, I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. But
Yeah.
when you moved to Los Angeles to study, and you also graduated from the Musicians Institute, that's when you started your modeling career. You kind of got grabbed up for that. What was that? How'd that happen? What was that? Because you did that for years, I think.
Yeah, that's a long time. Actually, it's an interesting story as well. uh, well, it was kind of like the music thing. I mean, it was like I moved to LA to pursue music, and learning about it in school, I guess, kind of took away a little bit of uh, the way I was wanting to do music. Everything kind of became math, and which music is. I mean, it's a mathematical language. But so I kind of just stopped doing music for a little bit, and I did not pursue modeling at all, ever. It was not something I wanted to do, but I was offered to work with with someone that was pretty big in the modeling industry in Italy, and so I was traveling with him, scouting all over the states. And one of the trips, I met Tommy Hilfiger and kind of liked what he saw, and I started doing his shows, and I got picked up from other things, and it's rolled on from there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's kind of crazy world to get kind of pulled into, you know.
Yeah, I used to model, and that's why I wanted you to talk about it, because it's very different from it's kind of it's an it can be exciting, but it's kind of crazy, and it's kind of hectic, and it's not slow paced, and it's
Oh no, it's a very crazy world. It's definitely not what people imagine. I don't think, anyways.
no.
It's definitely a crazy environment to be, but it's also a very artistic environment. You're part of
Mhm.
a lot of uh, creative people, and it's just it's different in a way that you're kind of the canvas. You know, like
Yeah,
you are a tool of someone else's creativity, and but I mean, you also in power, because you know, obviously you got to be the best you, or do. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It is a very competitive world, and a
Mhm.
lot of people break doing it, because I mean, it is, like I said, you are the one who's being measured at every time someone's looking at you, and every time you're up for a job or up for a casting, you're up for it is. But one of the reasons I did want to do it was because it got me traveling,
Mhm.
and and it is a very interesting world, you know, and like I said, it's also a very creative world, and I don't know, it's as long as you don't depend on it to feel good about yourself, because people will criticize, and there will always be someone better looking than you or
Oh
different
yeah.
looking than you, and you know, you just, I've seen a lot of people who got really hurt, and couldn't really handle. I mean, like I said, it's a competitive world, and, so I guess you can do it with a little bit of distance, you know, as long as you know who you are and feel good about yourself, you know. But
Yeah. It can be very superficial, and I was watching the series recently. It's about the assassination of Versace, and it reminded me of the part of modeling that I like, the creative part, the fashion, but it also reminded me of the parts that I didn't like. It's very fast paced. It can be, you do have to have a very thick skin because it's superficial, and
yeah, I mean,
it's
by
tough.
definition.
It's tough. So it is, but for you, you got to travel a lot, so I'm sure that part was.
I was very lucky. I mean, in the very beginning of my career, I did Gucci campaigns, and you know, when I first came to LA and I was walking up Sunset Boulevard and I saw some of those huge billboards, I was thinking that's got to be amazing to see yourself on one of those things,
Yeah.
and I did. So I mean, and it was very surreal.
Was that the
Uh,
Gucci one where?
yeah, it's a Gucci campaign.
Yeah, that was good. That was really,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it is, and it was, I mean, amazing experience.
Yeah.
But it's not like a lifelong career choice. But I mean, like I said, if you get to travel and see different places, and I mean, there's a lot of models in the world, obviously, but there's a very small group that travel to all the same places, and did those kind of jobs, you know, like from Milan to Paris and Barcelona, New York, and Miami, and South Africa, and all those places. So we would always meet the same people, the same friends at every city, because you travel to different markets, and that's nice. I do miss it sometimes.
Yeah, I bet. I mean,
Yeah,
there is parts of it that you'll miss. I know I enjoyed the runway modeling a lot, so it
yeah,
was fun. So, but anyway, but was that what you liked most, the traveling, would you say? Or
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And the friendships, you know, having all those friends doing the same as you, and it's not really a business. A lot of people understand, like, outside of a little circle. So I mean, so it definitely is. It's kind of like going to school. You know, you have your classmates, and when you finish school, suddenly you're out there in the world all by yourself, and you miss you miss that kind of relationship with people. You know.
yeah. Oh, I'm
So
sure. Yeah. But going back to your music, there's one song that the Life is Poetry that I don't know. It's very an enriched song to me with like a kind of a sense of longing for serenity. And you talk about in it that one of the lines is "We are all in transition." And one of my favorite lines is that "Close your eyes and breathe," because I when I listen to it, and even when I'm not listening to it, I'll remember that line. So because I remember whenever I'm feeling anxious, that's what you do. You want to close your eyes and just breathe. And where were you when you wrote that song, or was there something? What was the inspiration behind that? Do you remember?
Well, first of all, thank you, because I mean the reason I put that in there is obviously because I do write a lot of songs to remind myself to do certain things that are important, like when you learn like life lessons. I do like to put it in my music to not only remind myself, but also, you know, like you said, it stuck with you, you know, and certain things are super basic. I mean, just to stop and breathe uh, and be alive for a moment, you know, like, because a lot of things you forget that you're doing, and basic core functions of your whole being. And when you start breathing consciously, it brings you back to a calm and an awareness of your own living, you know. Where was I writing that? I think I was doing Santa Monica at the time, actually.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I was going through a shift and I did need to remind myself to do that, and I was trying to meditate a lot and trying to revisit a lot of stuff that meant a lot to me when I first learned, but maybe you forget, which is easy. So, but I'm glad it had that effect, you know. So
Yeah, it does. And I think about it a lot because I just bought some essential oils from a
yeah,
friend, and I'm, trying to get back to that more, meditative state because I am having to live kind of in the city, and I'm not happy about that part. so,
yeah.
so anyway, it's really helpful. I love that song a lot. It really is pretty. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah, it's really good. But in talking with you a couple days ago, you had said that I was talking about that whole thing about relaxing for anxiety and insomnia, and you commented that your intention was to write the songs that way. Is that kind of it sound most of your songs are that way? Was that, or is that just your natural state? Like,
I think it comes pretty natural. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say I write the songs with that intent to put someone to sleep. But like I said,
that's not what I meant.
since since I do have insomnia, I do try to, uh, you know, you still have to sleep and still have to get your rest, you know, and I think being in a state of calm and like I said, conscious breathing and meditative state is it's just, you still get that rest, you know, that you kind of need. I mean, you still need to sleep though, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I think automatically that happens when I do create music. I think subconsciously I try to put myself to sleep. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but
no, that.
yeah, I really do like like I said about the creative process with the music for the film. I mean, I was actually watching Blind Malice just after we filmed it, and we're sitting there listening to. We were watching the movie just with a few pieces of the music that I already written. This is like in the way beginning, and the air conditioner kind of bumped down and started up, and it's created this hum. So we didn't really notice that this happened, but we did notice the humming sound throughout the whole movie. And even just listening to that for like an hour and a half during the movie created such a different way to see the film. I mean, it was very strange, but I mean, that's the power of sound and ambience. And I think a lot of filmmakers and film musicians do that layering of just sounds that stays in the background. And also that, I mean, even if it's nothing that you would pick out and listen to during the film, it does affect you, and your ears and your mind picks it up. So
Yeah, kind of on a subconscious level.
yeah, so that's kind of interesting. We start laughing, and
Yeah.
after I figured out it was the air conditioning, like, what's that great sound in the background? So
Yeah, but I think that's neat what you say about you write music. It kind of helps you heal or reminds you, because I like to write inspirational posts, and that's one of the problems with writing. People think that you've either mastered what you're writing about, and that's not always true. Lots of times when I write something, it's either about wisdom I've gained from experiences, or I write it because it helps me heal too. It doesn't mean that I've mastered this
right,
this thing that I'm talking about, because none of us are perfect, but it's like a reminder, just like when you write your music, you are writing, it's kind of a reminder to you, I guess.
things that you picked up and learned. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you consider yourself mastering something, then you stop learning.
Yeah, you
You should
do.
always be a student of whatever you're pursuing, you know, until the end. You know, you should always
Yeah,
be a teacher and a student. You know, like you
yeah,
learn and then you pass on, and when you pass on what you learn, you relearn it and maybe gain even more knowledge about whatever you're uh, teaching. So I mean, it is. I think you should never master. Like mentally, you should never consider
yeah.
yourself a master of anything.
No, no, I never. I'm so I've always been so critical of myself, and I think that's why I always continue to learn in anything I'm doing, because I don't. Well, first of all, I get bored if I don't, but also I'm just so critical that I've got to keep learning, you know. So
Yeah, always the worst critic is yourself.
yeah, for
You know,
sure.
trust me, I know all about it. Yeah, too much at lots of times, you know.
Yeah, but
So I mean, I got tons of music and tons of stuff that I write that, you know, no one has ever heard.
wow.
So, but then, you know, like you pick things up a few years later and you're like, oh wow, this looks good. You know, and
Yeah,
you redo it, and you know, suddenly it fits into where you're at, you know, in life.
yeah. Oh, definitely. But with all your travels, have you developed sort of a philosophy that about life that you kind of created for yourself, and maybe the world around you, that sort of speaks to who you are, or maybe just
I think so, definitely.
what
uh,
can you share, or is it a secret?
well, no, there's no secret. I mean, you are who you are. I mean, like your life experiences sums up to your persona and your life philosophy. And uh, like I said, Buddhist philosophy and lifestyle is definitely shaped a lot of it. Um, but uh, I think traveling has probably made the most impact of who I am. And you know, if as long as you're your journey makes you a better self, I'd say you're on the right path. You know,
Yeah.
and at least, and I think that's my life philosophy. I try to impact people in a positive way, and be kind, and you know, try to be a better self. Uh, and I definitely try to live up to that, and which is not always easy.
Yes.
uh, and never stop adventuring. You know, be curious about things, and never say no to an opportunity to jump off a cliff or do something crazy. You know, so yeah, I definitely find myself in weird places, challenging myself, and thinking like, Jesus, what am I doing here? You know, like so.
Like when you jumped off something and got hurt, and you were actually hurt in the movie Blind Malice.
Well, I wasn't hurt in the movie. I was.
Well, that was a real limp, right?
Yeah, that's a real limp for sure. I was right out of the hospital. So yeah, pretty crazy times. But I just had a real psycho limp dragging my foot across the forest floor. You know.
Yeah, but it was very effective.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked the
Yeah,
film.
that was
It,
good. I always have loved thrillers, and I'm always, I've always researched people, and when I knew right away. I said, this guy's got to be Swedish. I get your accent and everything. I said, I just got to find out who he is. And then when I learned that you also are a musician, and I was like, well, I really want to have him on my show. So I was so
oh,
excited. I was so excited when I found you on Facebook because, you know,
well, thank
that's
you. I mean,
yeah,
at
that
least
was
Google works.
yeah. And it's always even more fun when I find someone and they end up being a really nice, kind person, because that just makes it more fun for me. Because I spend so much time promoting someone and celebrating them, so it's always nice when you get someone who's
That's
nice.
very nice. No, I'm glad. I mean, and I'm glad there's, I love exploring art, and I feel really super fortunate to have so many talented friends, uh, and very successful ones, and very talented artists, like in different genres all around the world. And I do try to explore music and arts from all over as well. So I mean, if there's people out there that find your art and gets moved by it, and appreciates it, and spreads it on, and you know, that makes kind of like everything worthwhile. So thank you. You
Yeah,
know, I do appreciate it a
yeah,
lot, you know,
yeah.
and if you can gain a new friend from somewhere, and you know, that's great.
Yeah, it is. It's always great to have new friends for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm so curious because of the way you grew up and you like the country but you live in I haven't California must be such a culture shock for you. What's it? I mean, do you
Uh,
like? I mean,
you know, to be honest, I don't. You know, I travel quite a bit, but even when I was younger, I mean, I feel like a citizen of the world. You know, like we are part of this beautiful little blue marble floating in space. I mean, I feel home everywhere. You know, which I think has helped me uh, move around and travel. So I mean, me coming to California as a 19-year-old kid with a guitar on his back, I mean, I fell in love like this right away. I mean, California's a beautiful place, and America's a beautiful place, and it's such a big continent. And but California, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been there, or I
I've
mean, you got
been I've been there, but I've not. It was mostly for business and seminars, so I really haven't gotten to see a lot of it, you know. So
Yeah, well, I mean, just the coast, and you got all these beautiful national parks, and you know, there's so many beautiful places. I mean, from the mountains to the deserts to the great forests and the coastline. So I mean, when I moved there, I felt at home, like right off the bat. So this pretty much been my home since '95, even though I traveled in between, but I always come back here.
yeah, yeah,
And culture shock, you know, especially California. I mean, maybe because of the movie industry and all that, but I mean, there's so many people from all over the world here, and you know, it's I think everyone kind of feels at home here. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so yeah, I love it out here.
That's good. That's good. When's the last time you've been back to Sweden or Norway?
Last year.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah. It's actually it's the first time I was back in Norway since I think 11 years. So it's a long time. I mean, I've been Stockholm before that, and different places in Europe, but yeah, it is far, but it's not that far. You can
Yeah.
always get back, you know, and it's getting cheaper to fly and better airlines and all that. So
Yeah.
uh, definitely important to go back.
Yeah. Well, I know it's got to be beautiful there. I've always wanted to go to Sweden because I told you when we talked that when I was in college, people thought I was Swedish, and
I
so
can see that.
I wouldn't until I spoke, but I try not to speak because I was like, oh, they think I'm from Sweden. I just won't say anything. I act like I didn't know what they were saying.
Just nod
Yeah,
and agree.
so
I can
funny.
definitely see some Scandinavian in you.
Yeah, well, there's German in my family. My father's father was German, and so we have those features, I guess. But I don't know. It's just funny. But I have one more question. Where would you like to go with your music? Would you like to do more instrumental stuff or soundtracks for movies or just everything?
Yeah, yeah. See, I would never just settle for one kind of music or one. I mean, I like I love electronic music and I love classical music, and my folk music is super important to me. And uh, music is music, you know. I will definitely always make instrumental music because I love ambience and ambient sounds and background weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know, no, because it triggers different things in your mind listening to, and it's such an interesting uh, effect it has on you. You know, so I'll always be doing that, and hopefully my my singer songwriter stuff will continue and maybe gain some bigger following and hopefully it can affect more people. And you know, I do believe everything you create will stay long after you're gone, you know, so I'm trying to leave something that will be meaningful.
Yeah.
Because we're not here that long, so
I know.
it's a good thing to leave something behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if I have the opportunity to work with film, I'll definitely do that. Because it is, like I said, it's a challenge to yourself and what you do. Because you do have to conform to a story,
Uh-huh.
you know. So it does, you know, like you do definitely have to, you know, get into that headspace, you know.
Yeah. So I think that would be fun doing the soundtrack. I think because I've always been curious about how they do it and thinking that would be the really cool part. So
Yeah. Well, we do. The director will go through like a list of. We be talking and we write a list of emotions and feelings that we find throughout a script or a movie, and then go through that list and start making songs, like songs and music for every single one of those emotions. And it could be from anger to anxiety to frightening, every single thing that you would want to hear something behind. And then, I mean, probably one and end up using most of them, but as long as there's stuff to pick from every emotion, it's like a crucial part of it. But it is a lot of fun.
yeah. I think so. And I'm sure you'll get to do more because you did a great job. And I want you to send me those links to the other
Oh
movies.
yeah,
I really would like to see those for
Imperfect
sure.
Guy and I May Regret.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed having you here today, Graham. You
Oh,
really
thank you,
are.
Tamarah. I appreciate
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, you're such an inspiration to me, and I know to many people, because like your music really is healing, and I've
Oh, thank
enjoyed.
you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that. That we had things in common. Like I used to model, and your photography is really beautiful,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I've enjoyed going through Instagram and looking a lot of it. It's just I love looking at other people's photography because it's inspiring and it's something that I think you should keep doing too. So
Well, I
there,
definitely want to pursue photography in a more professional way,
yeah,
future-wise. Because, like you said, I mean, it is. Thing is, these days, though, everyone has a camera on their phones and everyone's snapping thousands of photos every day. It's like an oversaturated market when it comes to all that, and people don't use film anymore. So, I mean, for me to, uh, my sister's a great photographer, and you know, to be inspired by your surroundings and to try to seek out. It's a means to seek out beautiful places or places that you find interesting that you can take photos of, and you kind of
yeah,
frame it to yourself. And if you can capture it on film, the better.
yeah. But you're right. But when digital came out, suddenly everybody's a photographer. But the truth is that not everybody's an artist, and you have a good eye. You do have an artistic eye, and so you could sell some of your prints. And I'm telling you this, and I've been meaning to start selling some of mine.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself to do that too. But you really should because you have some beautiful ones, and you know, like I said, not everybody is an artist that snaps the camera. So I think that's something you could do for sure. So
Might be a lot of things, but I'm not a businessman, which is my biggest problem. No, we'll see. Definitely. I mean, I definitely start selling some prints and get some
yeah,
paid jobs for photography.
yeah,
It is a wonderful thing to. I like astrophotography, so since I'm up at night, anyways,
yeah,
capture some of that magic. It's
yeah,
something else.
for sure. But anyway, you've just had I think, a wonderful journey. Is there anything you wanted to mention that we didn't go over, or any announcements that?
I think that's probably it. I'll be playing at the Scamfest in LA on April 6th, which is a Scandinavian festival, which is very interesting because I do write some Swedish, Norwegian music as well. So that'd be kind of interesting to see that part of, like, California has a lot of Scandinavians, so that'd be interesting. So if you happen to be in LA during that time, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, so that's in April you'll be, and that's in
Yeah, April
LA.
6th.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. So you can follow Graham on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. He's also on, his music is on SoundCloud. He's #1 on Reverb Nation, and he's also on Spotify. So the links are underneath this YouTube replay, and I'll have them in my, when I put his video in my website too. So please share this replay so that you can help me continue to celebrate Graham and all his talents, and visit tamarahscloset.com. And also all my videos are on my YouTube channel, so all my interviews are. So I want to continue to thank my viewers for their continued support. Stay tuned to Tamarah's Closet for more talented people that I'll have from all over the world. Wildflower says, hey, and to your own success, keep on rocking it. Take care.